Shuru karo. Ready? Go. Three, two, one. First episode of Politics at Dawat. Going to center our discussion around a book each time, just so we're grounded in knowledge. Today's book is called The Doctor and the Saint. The subtitle is Caste, Race, and the Annihilation of Caste. The second subtitle is The Debate Between B.R. Ambedkar and M.K. Gandhi. And the author of the book is Arundhoti Roy. I was basically going around the room asking around if anyone's heard of Arundhoti Roy. One or two people, maybe. Siam, have you heard of it? Siam's definitely not heard of it. Huh?
Yeah, it's
Okay,
recording.
perfect. Video's recording. We're going to be doing a book review of The Doctor and the Saint, Caste, Race, and the Annihilation of Caste, the debate between B.R. Ambedkar and M.K. Gandhi. It's a book written by Arundhati Roy. If you haven't heard of Ambedkar, that's basically the testament of how racist Indian society is, that one of the authors of the Constitution of India, right, Anju? You've never even heard about him, but as we go through this book, me and my bro Sia, you guys will find out how he's absolutely crucial to the development of India, its conception, and he's just as, if not more important than Gandhi. Siam, let's start off with you. Just look at these words and this kind of freestyle, whatever comes to your mind, just so we know where we're standing with these. Of course, I'm familiar with Arundhati Roy. I've read her other books, The God of Small Things. Would recommend you guys read them as well. I've also, done a deep dive into this concept of, casteism and, the racism that affects not just India, but folks over here as well who adhere to the system. That's perfect. So, I've basically read this book at least, twice. Of course, it's going to be very tedious, if not autistic, to go through like all 100 of those tabs. But just for the sake of time, sake of flow, how about we do this? We get whatever wisdom we can out of it, out of maybe just by talking about 20 or 30 minutes. So why don't you just randomly flip to any part of the book, to any of the tabs, and you can basically just read out to whatever portion it is. I've basically highlighted key points for reflection after reading this book a couple of times. You can read it and then we'll just kind of reflect on those two lines. How does that sound?
Okay.
And if we have trouble reading, tongue twist or whatever, we'll get volunteers from our audience. We do have some audience who are not, on screen right now, but they are allowed to volunteer, so I'll leave that up to you guys, audience members, okay? So Siam, up to you, whatever line you want to put.
Yeah.
Alright, then I guess I'll go for the next tab, of course, all historical figures are good and bad. You being someone who's of Bangladeshi descent, know how you one that you like, for example, Sheikh Mujib, who you may have grown up knowing as being the good guy, but now you're hearing, oh, he may have some things that weren't as great, So, of course, historical figures are complex. You take them with their, their good and their bad. Only exception to the rule, of course, Eid Mubarak, all of our prophets who are of course flawless and nothing touches them. So let me go to a second tab and see what we come to. And of course there's a strict 30-minute timer on our podcast just because I think both of us love to talk. We don't just want to have like a 5-hour podcast. All right, let's see. Hopefully, I did not pick the exact same one. No, it's not. Oh, wow. Okay. So, actually, Siam, this is of the examples that I told you about. And the example, okay, let me just read the quotation. In his history of the Valmiki workers of Delhi, the scholar Vijay Prashad says when Gandhi staged his visit to the Valmiki colony on Mondir Bar, formerly Reading Road, in 1946, he refused to eat with the community. So this is basically the racism I was telling you about Gandhi. You know, he's gonna go and he's gonna serve the poor, but because the poor are of a lower caste, what does it say? He refused to eat with the community. You can offer me goat's milk, he said, but I will pay for it. If you are keen that I should take the food prepared by you, you can come here and cook my food for me. Bounty elders recount tales of Gandhi's hypocrisy, but only with the sense of uneasiness. When a Dalit, what is a Dalit, Siam? So a Dalit is basically the lowest caste in Hinduism. I think, hey, Baba, Dalit right ki untouchable? Yeah, so Dalits are so ওরা basically চারটা কাস্টের নিচে নাকি 4 number caste. So they're basically outside of the caste system. They're not even within the 4 caste. They're basically the equivalent of untouchables. They're the Dalits. Alright, so where were we? When a Dalit gave Gandhi nuts, he fed them to his goat. Listen to this. So Dalit, you know, he respects Gandhi, gives him some nuts, and then he just feeds it to the goat, saying that he would eat them later in the goat's milk. Because of course I bet the guy got outraged. I'm like, you know, I brought these nuts, why are you feeding it to the goat? And Gandhi's basically like, oh no, I'm not feeding it to the goat. I'm gonna eat it as milk later on from the goat. That's what I'm doing. I'm not being racist, you know. Alright, so most of Gandhi's food, nuts and grains came from Birla House. He did not take these from the Dalits. Radical Brahmins took refuge in Ambedkarism, which openly confronted Gandhi on these issues. Ambedkar realized that the problem of caste would only be further entrenched unless untouchables were able to organize, mobilize, and become a political constituency with their own representatives. You know, we could read the whole book about it, but what are your thoughts about this one small example of Gandhi's racism? 30 seconds, because we're at 9 minutes, 40 seconds, 20 minutes of this podcast, and you're not over there.
Well, yeah, first I want to clarify. I brought my own vehicle, so I can depart at any time I want to.
If you need to refer to it.
Which one is it? Okay, so you've offered me ghost mode. Yeah, I see.
Yeah, this tab over
Okay,
here.
okay, I see. Yeah, I mean it's very interesting that he didn't take food from the untouchable caste. It would seem that that was below him. Uh, that it
And
didn't.
he's supposed to be the champion of equality.
Yeah, that is interesting because regardless of whatever it is, if it has a utilitarian purpose, nuts can be consumed. I mean, it could be given to the goat, but I guess yeah, when someone gives you a gift and you give it to someone else, regifting in that sense on a material item would be reflective of a bad action. So for food, I'm not so sure, but I think yeah. What's up? Oh, basically, it's messed up that you regift another gift to someone, but when it's food, I guess there's a gray area, but at the same time, he wanted
And
to.
by the
So.
way, if on any of it, if the audience wants to weigh in, feel free. The mic goes straight on our audience.
Weigh in.
Okay. All right, then Sam, I think it is your turn to like pick a tab.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Atifa, you're monitoring the video. Am I in it or am I?
Hey, cameraman, you got it? Take four, take four. Cameraman, you got it? We gotta start from the top. Did you hear?
I didn't hear it.
Video like it didn't sound like getting back in the camera. Am I in it?
Okay, so
Okay.
yeah, what do you and hold the mic, you know.
Oh, sure, I got you. Railways is one of the biggest employers of manual scavengers.
Oh, guys, hear this, right up. Manual scavengers in the Indian railway system.
So it's 14,300 trains transport 25 million passengers across 65,000 kilometers every day. Their shit is funneled straight onto the railway tracks through 172,000 open discharge toilets. This shit, which must amount to several tons a day, is cleaned by hand without gloves or any protective equipment, exclusively by Dalits,
And who are the Dalits again?
the untouchables.
Okay. Well, I think this is like a no comment situation. So basically, when you ride the train in India and even in Bangladesh, we're not above it. Yeah, if you do have to go numero dos, it's essentially going on the track. As far as what happens on the track, there is a class of untouchables who've been cleaning it generationally for centuries and centuries because they think it is part of their religion. They were born to do this work. Their dad's dad, everyone. And actually, they're pretty protective of this job too because, their economy isn't really that great in terms of producing good paying jobs for a billion people, when you're that nationalistic. A few people might. Okay, we're getting off topic with the book. Let me go to a different tab. Anyone from the audience wants to say something about this hereditary poop cleaning? No. Okay, I guess no one wants to say. Kalu, do you want to say something about this? Okay, all right. All right. All right, I will. All right, so let's see what. Oh my God, I'm not gonna say any kind of controversial names of figures. Let's see what this is. Oh, okay. So this is about the RSS. Do you know what the RSS is? It's an Indian paramilitary organization, I guess. Well, what does it stand for? Baba, RSS কিসের জন্য দাঁড়ায়? RSS কিসের জন্য দাঁড়ায়? কে? রাষ্ট্রীয় স্বেচ্ছাসেবক সংস্থা. Okay. So that's RSS. So by the time the Second World War broke out, Hitler and Mussolini were the RSSs, which is the Rashtriya Sahangshebok সংস্থা, were the RSS's spiritual and political leaders, and so they still remain. The RSS subsequently declared that India was a Hindu nation and that Muslims in India were the equivalent of the Jews in Germany. In 1939, M.S. Golwalkar, who succeeded Hedgewar as the head of the RSS, wrote in what is regarded as the RSS Bible, "We, our nationhood defined." And I'm going to read this quote and then pass it to you. To keep up the purity of its race and culture, Germany shocked the world by purging the country of the Semitic races, the Jews. Race, pride at its highest, has been manifested here. A good lesson for us in Hindustan to learn and profit by. And who's saying this, by the way? That's the leader of the RSS, which is basically the party that's in power right now in India. By 1940, the Muslim League, led by M.A. Jinnah, had passed the Pakistan Revolution. I'm not sure there's much to say. I think I've already like beaten this to death. If you want to pick something else, yeah, let's go for it. We're at 16 minutes, 47 minutes, 14 minutes left.
So basically, uh, of the 315 key decision makers surveyed from 37 Delhi-based key. Oh, okay. So they did a survey on the social profile of New Delhi's media elite, and of the 315 key decision makers surveyed from 37 Delhi-based Hindi and English publications, almost 90% of the decision makers in English language print media, and 79% of them were found to be in the upper caste. Of them, 49% were Brahmin. So a lot of them were Brahmins. 49% were Brahmins, and not one of the 315 was Dalit or Adivasi. Only 4% belonged to caste designated as Shudra, and 3% were Muslim, who make up
Only 3% were Muslim.
Yeah.
India has how many Muslims? 200 million, right?
Oh wow, yeah.
Okay.
I guess what it says who make up 13.4% of the population.
13.4% of the population, but only 3% of the media.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you think about that? What do you?
I mean, we're talking about the examples, right? I mean, based on, so I don't know about the word grace, that's a Western construct,
Yeah.
right? But definitely, if you're destined to clean shit with your bare hands for the rest of your life by the circumstances of your birth, even if it's not called racism, there is some sort of prejudice, casteism. And you know, on that point, did you know just how you're not allowed to discriminate based on race? People in California tried to add caste to that as well, and it was vetoed. Oh, we have a Californian here. It was vetoed by Governor Newsom. Because of lobbying by these upper castes that you actually just, read about, because we're not just in India. The whole reason I think I picked this book is because they're around us and affecting us too. I think recently you heard how everyone did, they can't do janazas because Hindutva is, funding extremists who are making trouble for them. But since we do have a Californian, I know you don't like the spotlight, but can we ask you to say a couple of words about Gavin Newsom vetoing? So this is where this vagueness about is it racism, is it casteism, but him vetoing not discriminating based on caste. Do you think that's the equivalent of him vetoing an anti-racism legislation? I'm going to pass the phone to Ransa. You can come over here if you want to be on TV, but if you want to be off camera, that's fine too.
Well, I think there's something to be said about the power that these people hold, because obviously the legislation doesn't just come onto the table from nowhere. There's been, a system of Indian people coming to America, taking
Just so underqualified.
taking some of those,
no
higher level managerial positions in tech. California is a big tech hub. There's a lot of tech jobs that a lot of, Indian people take, and then they keep hiring, more Indian people, which is fine. But then it's when they discriminate against one, group of Indian people because of caste system, which shouldn't be a thing in America.
So, forget that our dad being a Bangladeshi in the tech industry. Go ahead, Kamala. Okay.
Anyways, But yeah, so I think Gavin Newsom was definitely pushed to do certain things that might not be beneficial because of big money coming from some of these big
Hindutva organizations.
exactly. If you look at the median earnings of every racial group in the U.S., Indians have well above the average American earnings.
MashaAllah. Okay, well, thank you. That was actually surprisingly insightful. Is there anything? No, it was surprising because I thought me and Siam were just doing bok. I didn't think anyone was, listening attentively. Thank you for the thoughtful analysis. Siam, do you have any thoughts on what Raisa just said?
I mean, yeah, it does make sense. It follows and it tracks, especially the legislative part. If it's important, then people are listening. So, uh, agreed.